Good afternoon. My name is Courtney Gast, and this is my capstone proposal on how scheduling, programming, and the environment impact occupation participation with individuals in the security unit. Some information is essentially older adults going through life experience many losses. These losses may consist of their home, spouse, loved ones, independence, their freedom of choice, and leisure. 1 out of every 5 older adults meet the criteria for a mental health diagnosis, while 13.5% have a diagnosis of anxiety. 18.5% have mild, moderate, or severe depression. These statistics are in relation to individuals within the general public versus the long-term care facility. And unfortunately, I was unable to identify statistics that relate to a facility. 47.2% on antidepressants, while 59.9% on serotonin reuptake inhibitors. These are individuals who live in a long-term care facility, but the statistic is in relation to nursing homes in Europe versus the United States. Unfortunately, I was unable to identify any statistics in relation to the US. Based on my literature, these are just some of the interventions that are proven to work. Basically, anything within a group activity helps reduce anxiety and depression, or specific activities such as exercise and dance, coloring, board games, or reminiscence therapy are just some of the areas of focus that literature has focused on, though anything done, like I said, in a group setting can help reduce anxiety and depression. The model that I plan to use is occupational justice, which is basically a person's right to engage in any meaningful or purposeful activities. The goal is to increase occupation participation within the security unit at Crestmont North through the use of environmental modification and program development and/or modifications. Occupational therapy's role is to work with residents and staff to help identify strategies to improve overall quality of life, along with analyzing the person-environment relationship and how it impacts residents within the environment. A needs assessment was performed. It was an internet survey that was released to the general public, and this was to kind of gain greater insight to current interventions that are in place to address mental health in the older adult population. Findings: 18 people responded from various settings, such as nursing homes, hospitals, community centers, hospitals, hospice, and doctor's offices. Disciplines such as nursing, occupational therapy, physical therapy, and social workers all responded to my survey. Kind of common interventions and themes that were kind of prevalent is basically a referral to psych, increase in occupational engagement, various therapies mainly focused on psychological therapies such as psychiatrists or psychologists, social engagement, education, and community resources. Overall themes were increase in social interaction, increase in occupational engagement, referral to mental health services, or overall enhancing quality of life. This may look like interventions to decrease pain or other underlying symptoms that impacts quality of life. One of the questions on my survey was basically identifying barriers that they felt inhibited their ability to implement more mental health care. Basically, the biggest one being staffing as the biggest barrier. Staffing kind of goes hand in hand with time. Decreased staff means decreased amount of time available to give to residents and staff. How this guides my activities is, while the survey is small, it gives me an idea of what is currently being performed and what still needs to be done. Many health professions are still unaware of their mental health role, along with being aware of other professions outside of psychiatrists and psychologists that can help intervene. This survey allows me to see the probable barriers that current healthcare workers are currently facing, staffing being the biggest barrier. How this pertains to Crestmont North is basically a second needs assessment we completed during the first week or two during my time there. This will help me make sure that any interventions that I provide are realistic for the setting, along with make sure that it's relevant and that it's doable for the setting. This will be completed through the use of observation and discussion with residents and staff. My problem statement is due to limited information on education and various health professions in regard to mental health. Many older adults are referred to psychiatric services without consultation from disciplines outside of psych. The purpose and rationale is to create an engaging atmosphere in which older adults can participate in various programs to decrease anxiety and depression among a population which faces many losses throughout their life, to combat the effects of COVID-19 pandemic, which increase social isolation, anxiety, and depression among individuals in the long-term care facility. Scholarship model that Boyer scholarship model that I plan to use is a scholarship of application, which basically I would indirectly address mental health in older adults through the use of environmental modification and program modification and/or development to increase occupation participation. The community partner is Crestmont North. This is a skilled nursing facility in Lakewood, Ohio, who primarily take care of individuals who are 65 years and older. These individuals are long-term, short-term, and rehab patients. These individuals may live in a general population or a secured unit. The values and beliefs of this setting is patients have the right of choice, dignity, and good quality of care to help facilitate personal healing. My site mentor is Alex Fox, who is the administrator at Crestmont North for the past 3 years. He has worked in the healthcare field for 10 years, and he's a licensed nursing home administrator. Alex is my ideal mentor based on the idea that he's able to help facilitate my engagement with various disciplines within the setting. Goals: by the end of the 14-week Capstone experience, I will have modified and/or adjusted Crestmont North's current activities program that encourages an increase in overall engagement and occupation participation. This will be meeting with various disciplines, adjusting disciplines to identify any changes or modifications that need to be made. Let's move through observation along with adjusting the schedule that best fits needs and expectations of resident staff, and also kind of creating a resource list of probable new activities that will help facilitate future activities when I am finished at Crestmont North. By the end of 14 weeks, I will have collaborated with various members in a disciplinary team to facilitate an engaging environment. Basically, this is looking at the thoughts and feelings of the environment, observing the environment, and also like creating recommendations from this is what you can do for free that you already have versus versus X amount of money that you can spend to help make things a lot easier within your environment and increase engagement. Basically, I will construct a plan during my time, gather the materials, and implement this plan if doable. The mentor-specific goal is to increase quality of life of individuals living on a secured unit through program development modification to enhance opportunity for engagement and occupation participation through the use of environmental modification and/or program and development and modification. Basically, the objective of methods is identifying barriers within an environment that prevent or discourage activity participation, collaborate with appropriate personnel to create an engaging atmosphere, adjusting or reconstructing the program that is currently in place, and making recommendations or modifications based on current scheduling to enhance optimal participation within the environment. My focus is occupation participation among residents living within a secured unit. The secured unit is basically individuals who are at risk for elopement, present with safety concerns, and/or individuals who have experienced a psychiatric event. The goal is to create an engaging yet calming environment through the use of program development and/or modification, along with environmental modification. Information will be gathered through the use of observation. It will also be through having discussions with resident staff and various department heads to kind of get their thoughts and feelings about what changes they would like to be seen be made. Format of this capstone proposal is program modification and/or development. Weeks 1 through 3 of my capstone proposal will be orientation, observation, and discussion with residents and staff. Will primarily take place during these weeks. By the end of week 3, I'll have all my findings ready to discuss with appropriate parties. Week 4 is kind of creating a plan of adjustment and then discuss with appropriate people. Weeks 5 through 11 is mainly focused on the activities portion, basically creating and/or modifying the activities program that's currently in place. The end goal is to modify at least 3 or more activities to increase engagement among residents in secured units. Also during this time, a resource binder will be created to help staff in the future come up with different activities appropriate for the secured unit. I'll also be basically looking at the response to current scheduling during this time to help create a plan of adjustment and implement changes, but I'll implement changes no later than week 10. Weeks 8 through 12, basically this time I'll start looking at environmental modifications to help facilitate a calming yet engaging environment, which best fits the needs of the secured unit. And then weeks 12 through 14, I am basically phasing out my overall involvement. I'm finishing up any projects that need to be finished, gathering any and all feedback that I am able to receive, making observations of overall changes, and preparing for my final presentation, and ensure that all resources and findings are appropriate for appropriate parties. These were the references referenced in my capstone proposal. And that is all. Thank you.